Welcome to our last video in our decimals unit. This one is on dividing decimals by decimals. So last lesson you learned about how to divide when the divisor, the number on the outside, was a whole number. This one is all about what if that number on the outside is a decimal. So get your title, get your essential question down, and then head on over to the next part and we'll get started with the lesson. All right, so get this jotted down and then we're going to kind of talk about it here. It says you need to change the divisor, that's our number out front, into a whole number by moving the decimal point to the right. So basically think if we want to move this to the right until this becomes a whole number. But here's the important part. Move the decimal point in the dividend, that's the number on the inside, the same number of spaces. So basically we have to treat both numbers equally. Effectively what we're doing is we're multiplying by 10 or 100 to change them into a whole number. We just have to treat both parts of the problem equally so that we're not changing kind of what the intended problem is trying to solve. So here's what it is. I'm going to grab this decimal point and I want to move it to the right. Oh, 1, 2 spots. So here you can see it again. I'm going to grab it and I'm going to go 1, 2 spots. Notice that now this number out front, 006, or really that's just 6, is now a whole number. But notice what happened to my decimal over here. It slid from in front of the 4, it slid over 2 spots, so now it's in front of the 2. So both of them moved those 2 decimal places. But here's where this last part comes in. You gotta make sure to rewrite the problem. So you're gonna try to be a hero, you're just gonna try to slide your decimal over and try to do the problem right there, and all that's gonna happen is you're gonna end up making a silly mistake because you lost something in the problem. The best thing to do is now that we've moved that decimal, just rewrite it. 6 and then divide it into 46.2. So all of our digits are still there. The decimal can slide right up into our answer, but we've just rewritten it so that this divisor, the number out front, is a whole number, so it makes our division much easier. I know how many 6's go into something. Knowing how many 600ths go into something can be a little bit trickier. So that divisor is now something that I can just look at my multiplication table or learn my math facts and know how to multiply and divide with that number. Oh, went too fast. All right, so for this next part, I know it looks like a lot of problems, but don't worry. We're not solving all of these problems. All we're doing is practicing how to rewrite them. So again, it all starts with the divisor, the number out front. We want to move our decimal over, in this case, 1 spot. So now it's 19 instead of 1.9, but I got to do the same thing over here. So it becomes 19 divided into 84. And then I can slide that decimal right up and be ready to go ahead and multiply. Over here, again, the number on the outside, the divisor is the one that does the work. 1, 2, 3 spots until it becomes a whole number. But I got to do the same thing here. 1, 2, 3. Now, here's the question. What goes in that blank spot since I moved it past all the digits that I had there? Well, you're probably telling me you fill it in with a 0. So this new problem became 8 divided into 4,870. And now we're ready to slide that decimal into our answer, and away we go. Here's where you're going to make some mistakes if we're not careful. Don't try to move the decimal points when the problem still looks like this. Set up the problem. Remember, the first number goes on the inside. The second number comes out front. Now go ahead and try to set up the problem by moving your decimal point. So we're going to take that decimal point and we're going to go over 1 spot. We're going to do the same thing over here. We're going to move it over 1 spot. So it came 4 divided into 330.7. So set it up as a division problem first before you do anything else. Same thing here. First number goes on the inside, 52 on the inside, 0.6 on the outside. Now we go to move the decimal points. So I'm going to slide my decimal point over 1 spot, so it becomes a 6. But this one's tricky. Where's my decimal in the number 52? Remember, anytime you have a whole number, the decimal really is right over here, but I moved it 1 spot over here, so I got to move it 1 spot over here, which means I kick in my extra 0. So it's 520 divided by 6 now. Last one, 0.15 divided into 4.076. Remember that first number goes on the inside. Here I got to slide it over 2 spots. So I'm going to do the same thing here, 2 spots. And I get 407.6 divided by, now this number up front becomes a 15. Those extra zeros out in front of our number, it really don't matter for us. We just want that nice whole number of 15. All right, so we've practiced setting them up. Now let's put it to use. Let's actually go ahead and do a problem. So here are 3 steps to the problem that we've been practicing. So get these jotted down. 1, change the divisor into a whole number by moving the decimal point to the right. Then move the decimal point in the dividend, that's the number that's going to be on the inside, the same number of places, and also to the right. Then just bring the decimal straight up into your answer, just like you did in our previous lesson. And now you're ready to go ahead and divide. So I'm going to write this one out. 2.64 divided by 0.6. Again, first step, get the problem rewritten. So slide that decimal over 1 spot, make it into a whole number. Do the same thing over here. And now I'm ready to write a clean version of the problem. Now it's 6 divided into 26.4. So my first step is slide the decimal up. And now I'm ready to go ahead and divide. 6 goes into 26 4 times, which is 24, so I subtract. 26 minus 24 is 2, and I bring down my 4. 6 goes into 24 4 times, which is 24, and I'm left with a big 0. There's no more digits to bring down, so I'm good. My answer is 4.4. All right, last 2. If you feel like you're ready to tackle these on your own, go for it. If not, feel free to follow along with me, but either way, check your answers when you're all done to see how you did. Remember, the first step is setting up the problem, sliding the decimal over in our divisor, and then rewriting a clean version of the problem so we can focus on just the work we need to. So first number goes on the inside, 1.71 divided by 0.5. Now I'm going to move my decimal over to make this into a whole number, in this case just 1. So we do the same thing here. And I get 5 divided into 17.1. Now I'm ready to go ahead and divide. Slide that decimal up. 5 goes into 17 3 times, which is 15. Subtract to get a 2, bring down a 1. 5 goes into 21 4 times, which is 20. So I'm kind of slanting to the right here. So I subtract and I get 1. I'm not done, so that means I got to kick in my extra 0 and bring it down. 5 goes into 10 2 times, which is 10. Subtract and I get 0, so I don't need to bring down or add any more zeros or keep dividing. I'm ready to be done. 1.71 divided by 0.5 is 3.42. All right, same thing. 54.4 on the inside, 1.2 on the outside. Slide the decimal over, in this case just 1 spot, so I do the same thing here. And I get 12 divided into 54, or 544. I'm still going to put that decimal in there, even though it's a whole number, and I'm going to put in my answer, because I never know when my dividing is going to take me past that decimal point, and I'm going to have to add in those zeros. So 12 goes into 54 4 times, which is 48. 54 minus 48 gives me 6, and I bring down my 4. 12 goes into 64 5 times, because 5 times 12 is 60. Subtract and I get a 4. I'm not done, so as long as I'm after that decimal point, I can add a 0 and bring it down. 4 goes into 40 3 times, which is 36. Subtract, I get a 4, still not done, so I'm going to add a 0 and bring it down. 12 goes into 40 3 times, which is 36. And then this is one of those where you're starting to notice the pattern. I get a 4, add a 0, becomes a 40, goes into it 3 times, which is 36, but I'm still left with 4. So you notice we're kind of repeating that same pattern over and over again. Basically, we're going to keep doing the same thing over and over. Once we know that, it's okay to come back and put that repeat bar over top of the part that's repeating. So in this case, our answer is going to be 45.33333 repeated. So 54.4 divided by 12 is 45.3 repeated. All right, hope you did well. We'll practice some more in class.